Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 70th episode of the Talking with a Dad podcast this evening. Steve, I think we have a really good show lined up here. There's a few topics that I'm very excited about. There's a few topics that you're very excited about. And there's one topic in the sandwiched in there somewhere that we're both very, very lukewarm about. And it's really what it is that you're very excited and I'm very so dismissed and I hate the idea of this topic so much that it kind of melds together into a nice lukewarm soup.
So it's a clam chowder is what you're saying?
Okay, hold on. Clam chowder, you've had it in Boston, I'm sure you have.
Right? Yes, I have.
That is the pinnacle of soup.
I want to tell you what I did when I had it. I took a sip, took another sip, and I spit that shit out, spit in the face of the waitress. I'm like, you guys are freaking savages over here. And I walked out. And then I was chased out of Boston by a small mob of little guys.
Well, a small mob. And he wasn't talking about how many people were there. He was talking about the average height.
Yeah, little folk.
Shout out Boston. Boston's one of my favorite cities.
Best some good steaks. Actually, a real authentic Boston cream, kind of a letdown when you grew up on Dunkin' Donuts. Also, I would never, ever, shout out to all my friends in Boston, I would never, ever call it my Dunkie. It's not happening.
No. Dunkin's is better in Boston, though, for some reason.
It definitely is, but I thought they were having a seizure when they were telling me, like, yeah, I'm going to my Dunkie.
We're going to my Dunkie. What? And I'm like, what the? Dude, why, hey, first of all, why do you sound like you're Canadian? Second of all,
what are you talking about?
Yeah, I love Boston. I really do. I love the city. I've spent a lot of time there.
I like the Devonshire district, right across the street from the Commons. Had a person I knew once that went to Emerson College. That's also across the street from the Commons.
Yep.
Beautiful over there. Take a wrong turn, a lot of heroin addicts, but that adds to the flavor.
Like, that's anywhere, right?
Yeah, like Washington Square Park. It's not a genuine tourist experience unless you get harassed by a dope fiend. That's what I say. Right?
I know exactly what you mean, which is the worst part.
You gotta explain that to your kids.
When I'm walking through like the city, for example, right, New York City, right? When we say the city, we mean New York City. I'm the person 100 times out of 100 who gets harassed by the guys trying to sell their CDs, the guys trying to scalp tickets, the guys trying to fucking like, and I don't know why. I am always the person who gets harassed.
Dude, now let me ask you a question. In response to those things, are you the person who just kind of throws change in a nervous frenzy, or are you the waiver? Like, no, I'm sorry about you.
It depends, right? Like if they're off to the side, head forwards, walk past them, right?
Right.
I've been in situations where I'm there with like a friend or a girlfriend or whatever, right? And they're like, "Oh my god, let's stop and see." And I'm just like, "Nope." I pick you up and I just keep walking.
There you go.
You got to just ignore it. But if they're in front of you, like hand out in front of you, I'm like, "No, thanks." You know, I'm like, I'm good. You know, like just back up a little bit. I'm that guy.
No, I won't lie. I'm a bit of a sucker. Like I used to carry $20 worth of singles with me when I would go into the city because that was about on average how much money I gave out while I was walking around. But I would pick and choose. I'm a real sucker for the when they have their kids with them. I can't stand to see it. I've almost given my credit card to people before, like look, I'll put you up in a room, we'll get your life together, you can move into my house, I'm sure my wife won't have any problems with it. And then Santana shortly there kicked that poor lady and her child out.
Exactly.
The kid also was 30 years old. I should
you should have known. What are you doing?
So what else is going on, man? What is happening in your life, Zach?
Man, that is a loaded question. That's a loaded question. So what Steve is trying to bait me into talking about is how much I've been playing World of Warcraft recently, and not doing literally anything else. I go out of the house once in the last 3 days, right? I got out of the house once in the last 3 days, and I hit a deer with my car. I was supposed to go have dinner with my dad tonight, right? And my dad was like, "Hey, you know what? We had plans this weekend. We're not doing that anymore. Come over Saturday." Right, come over, hang out Saturday night, we'll cook, whatever. I'm like, all right, cool. So I, like everyone else, had made plans here. So I had to go get food. And I fucking leave and hit a deer, I don't even know, half a mile from my house. Pissed. Now, there's no cell phone service here. There's no cell phone service. I had to drive another 4 miles to get to an intersection where there's cell phone service.
Are you serious? So I've never hit a deer, and God willing, I never will. But the procedure is you have to call the cops.
I called my dad. I'm like, dude, what do I do? Right? I'm like, I hit a deer. His guy, are you okay? I'm like, yeah, I'm fine. He's like, do you need? Well, He was like, yeah, do you need a tow truck? And I'm like, no, I'm good. Like, I drove the car. Car's fine. No handling issues. The right blinker on the front is having issues, whatever. Like, that's normal. Well, not normal for the car, but normal for the accident. And I'm like, do I have to call the cops? I'm like, I have no idea. He's like, well, how bad is the damage? So I'm like, all right, well, front quarter panel's dented. Hood is dented. Front passenger door dented. The passenger mirror gone. It's missing. Just gone. And then like a bunch of like the panels and stuff are like dented, right? Like, so I was like, he was like, yes, you need to call the cops, because he was like, listen, if it was like the front quarter panel a little bit dented, he was like, listen, you pull that dent out and you don't call it because you don't want to get your insurance involved. But like, that's a lot of damage. I bet you $4,000 worth of damage.
Good God.
But it's just body panels are expensive, right? That's what it's down to. I know a front bumper for a Subaru Legacy 2005 is $750. Nothing related as to why I know that, but so yeah, it's going to be expensive. So I gotta call the insurance on Monday, I guess.
Yeah, your deductible is going to be like $500 on that, by the way.
No, I know. Actually, I could probably look it up on the app what my actual deductible is. I think it's $500. I hope it's not any more than that. Yeah, and then I'll be fine, right? I just have to call it. The accident report will be done in a week or so, and then yeah, I'll be good. But yeah.
See, this is the case for why it's okay to be a shut-in. Don't ever let your therapist tell you, oh, you must get out to get human interaction.
Listen,
Zach, you're better off just staying in the house. Get yourself a mason jar to pee in. McDonald's on speed down. Maybe Burger King when you're feeling a little frisky. You can get your buffalo chicken sandwiches.
I don't live close enough for anyone to deliver. I can't even get pizzas delivered to my house.
Good God.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, it's not that big of a deal. I leave the house generally every single day.
Okay.
I have an errand to run. I have a thing to do. Oh, I got to put gas in the car. I whatever, right? I haven't had to the last few days. And when we had food here to eat, so I was like, all right, whatever. I'm just not going to waste the gas. I'll eat fucking tuna fish sandwiches and have a good time, you know? Like, average days.
Put some chili flakes on the tuna fish. Everything
chili flakes are a little high class for me.
What?
Yeah, so I hit a deer today. It was interesting. I've been behind a car who's hit a deer, and I've been in front of a car who has hit a deer, and I have never been the one, and it happens to be with this car. And now we've talked about the car. I love my car. Like my car is one of the greatest purchases I've ever made. I love the car. I love it like so much.
My neighbors didn't appreciate your car, but it is a nice car.
It's not loud.
It's loud, bro.
No, it's
not loud. It's not loud to you anymore. No, that first initial ignition, like when you kick off, yeah, it's a noticeable sound. Like to an old person, that's they're like, what's happening?
A little bit, but it's not like. Listen, you've been behind like in a Subaru Impreza that like when they like it's not that right. There's a little bit of noise, but
it's not like turbo kit loud. But if you live in
it is turboed, but.
Yeah, but not like not air compressed like turbo kit, like not Impreza, like the obnoxious, you don't have spiked hair with a barbed wire tattoo loud is what I'm saying.
I agree. You're absolutely right in your assessment there, because this is just a factual statement. Yeah, so no, I mean I like my car a lot. I do, and the sooner I can get it fixed, the faster my life will go back to normal. And I can
the thing is, you're gonna have to leave it at the shop for a few days for the body work. Yeah, you wanna borrow the dad mobile? It's a nice Mazda. Gets a very good, nice mileage to the gas.
How are you gonna drive around?
Huh? I'm not. See, that's the thing I was setting you up for.
You're like, actually, I took 2 weeks off and I don't need it.
I expect you to come pick me up from now on in the front, and I want to do the reverse racism thing, like just once more time around the block, Bitterman, and like make other people uncomfortable. It's gonna be good.
I would totally do that as a bit if you were serious. I would do that as a bit. We would record it and it would be amazing.
And I would still get pulled out of the car by the cops.
Dude,
like, does he have a?
Listen, I know. Listen, I know the cop experience is different, right? I've never had a good experience with a cop. I've never had a single experience where like, listen, I'm always very polite to the police, right?
Right.
In general, I'm generally like, unless I'm working, or I'm dealing with the public who are asking me stupid questions. I'm generally a very polite person. If I'm at a restaurant, I tip well. I say thank you, yes ma'am, no ma'am, yes sir, no sir. At like a stores, like even just generally in public, right? Unless you piss me off, I'm very polite. I'm very polite to the place, right? Cop pulled up behind me because I'm parked at the intersection. I called 911, and they're like, "Hey, just stay there, like whatever." So I'm out taking pictures of the car. Cop pulls up behind me, and he's just like giving me an attitude the entire time. And I'm like, dude, bro, I hit a deer. I was like, first time I've ever been in like an accident. I was like, I have my license, registration, and in proof of insurance. I handed it to him. He's like, are you sure this is all good? And I'm like, yeah. I wouldn't have I wouldn't have handed it to you if it was good, officer. And then he looks at it, and then he checks the tag on the car, and he's like, oh well, the license plate holder is held up well. And I'm like, yeah, man, that was the only thing I was really worried about when I hit the deer. Like I said that, like, and like he looked, and he was like, okay, and then gets in his car, and he's in his car for like 15 minutes, and I'm like, what the fuck? And then another cop pulls up, and I'm like, okay, this is fine, right? I'm a big guy. I was a foot taller and probably 100 pounds heavier than the cop, so I understand that he called in backup. But to be fair, I would have taken both of them if I really wanted to.
Routine.
Yeah, and then like the other guy gets out and he starts asking me stuff. And I'm like, okay, whatever, dude. I'm like, this is fine. Like,
let me tell you what happened there, right? So I can't prove it, and I'm going to use the allegedly air quotes, but every once in a while when they go back there, they're running your numbers, right? They're running
I know exactly what they're doing.
Yeah. But every once in a while, they might get a ding with someone that has the same name as you, right? So there could very well be another Zach.
There's one other person in the country that has the exact same name as me. He lives in California.
And if that guy's even got a hint of a criminal record, right? Like they're calling it in.
Wow,
very awkward situation. It's not like I'm driving around using your name, committing small felonies and
you should. It would be funny. It'd be a really funny bit when you have to come bail me out of prison.
But the reason you dealt with that is because of the area you live in. So typically, per capita, cops in this area or stadies
are dickheads.
Yeah, that's the clinical term. But
I have so many opinions of cops, and none of them are good. And then, like, the guy does all the normal questions, right? Were you alone? Yes. Was there anyone else in the car? No. Like, that was the same question, dude. And then, like, at the end of it, he's like, "Oh, well, why did you wait so long to call?" And I'm like, to call you? I'm like, there's no cell phone service up there. He goes, "Oh, okay, all right. Well, I guess I'll have to go check that out after this." I'm like, what do you mean, dude? I'm like, I'm not gonna drive all the way down here with the car like half fucking broken, look like a bum ass, and be like, well, I just drove somewhere else to call you. No, dude, like,
that's because they know you in your town, man. They're like, that Neenan, he's always up to this.
I didn't know the cop. Didn't know the cop.
You didn't know him, man.
I didn't know the cop,
dude. You remember the night of the episode that will not be named? The you know what I'm talking about, where you split, you went home, and I went to go get the dog from upstate.
Yeah,
I actually got pulled over on the way.
You said that,
yeah, right in between Liberty and where the reservoir is. And turns out the cop knew my wife. They went to high school with each other.
Oh,
and that is quite possibly
why
the
you
only
reason. Shot.
Yeah, or like, he puts the gun back where he's like, or luckily it wasn't a crazy accident. He's like, "Oh, you're the guy that married Santana," and just puts two in me. But
I've never heard anyone talk about getting shot so casually. Yeah, just puts two in me.
Nicest stadium I've ever dealt with, man. Like I even asked him a few questions. I was like, "Hey, man, it's great that you pulled me over. I had a situation I was wondering if it was resolved in California." He's like, "Oh no, you're good, man." He's like, if it's not coming up, he's like, if it's not coming up on my screen, you're good.
You're kosher. Yeah, dude. It's just like I've never had an experience with a cop where it was like I'm like, cop pulls up. It's like, "Oh, hey, you hit a deer." I'm like, "Yeah, man, just up there, not too far." Like, I was like, right now I didn't see it. I was like, oh, and then just like gives me an attitude about it, dude. I got pulled over for tint, like driving upstate. Right, I know. Listen, I know. I actually thought he was gonna give me a ticket for the tint. I know that I'm not supposed to have the tint, right? That's fine. Like, but the guy pulls me over. He's like, "Well, this is dangerous for you and me," and I'm like, bro, I'm just like driving around. I'm fucking bored, and you're like, listen, if you're gonna give me the ticket. That's fine. But like,
yeah.
You're gonna have to give me like a guilt trip? I don't give a fuck about your tint laws.
Dude, that's the one thing I miss about California, man. Before we jump into everything, so you know, tons of tent places everywhere you go, all over LA County, Santa Ana, Orange County, everywhere. Me and my buddy Steve, the other Steve, as I like to call him, we went to go get our cars tinted at the same time, which is a bit peculiar. I could see if a cop stopped us then, it would have been a very
understood. Two guys named Steve getting tint. They're getting tint. They went on a tint date. It's like when girls go to the bathroom together.
I tried to explain to Santana. She was like, the back tent looks really dark. I'm like, no, it's not the back that the cops in California are worried about. It's the front. Mm-hmm. They don't give a shit if they can't see. Oh no, it was when I was driving a Mazda 3, so it was like a hatchback.
Yeah, I know what a Mazda 3 is.
Yeah. So like they don't care if they're coming from the back. They don't really care about the back tent being that bad because they're usually going to pull in front. It's the front tent for some reason that they trip on really hard in California. But every place you go in Cali is going to try to upsell you on that front tent. And I mean, it's not one of those casual upsells. It's very uncomfortable. Like I had to tell the dude a hard no 4 times. I was like, nah, no. Please don't go past level 3.
I looked into getting my tint reduced to the legal limit in the state.
Coward.
No. I just looked into it. I'm not going to do it.
Okay.
It was a price, right, that I wasn't willing to pay. It clearly hasn't been done. But then it's also like so light that I'm like, just fucking make it a fishbowl then. You know, like my car looks good with the tint, right? It looks good with the tint. Black tint with the white car, good contrast. I think it looks good, right? That's the only important thing. Right. But like, I might as well just not have fucking tint for what the legal limit is. The legal limit, I think it's 75% of light has to get through. I think when mine was tested, it was 26% getting through. So like, I was like, it's like the same thing, but reverse, like whatever. All right, let's get into the actual topics. I'm
trying to talk Billiam into getting a dark tint. I was like, Billy, get a dark tint.
Billy get a new car?
Yeah, he got a new car. What do you get? A dark tint, new rims. I don't know. Billiam, drop it in the comments, man. He did get a new car. He pulled up to my house and he looked like a little gangster rolling up on the house like that, man. But he definitely needs like a dark tint. We're talking about 85%, right?
Yeah.
And some gold rims in the front.
No.
Friggin' license plate that says you only live once.
I thought about getting a custom license plate recently.
Don't do it, man. Don't do it. You're not that age yet. Nothing custom on your license plate. No one's interested in what you have to say when you're driving, dude. But with that said, I'm going to let you pick the first one. Or do you just want to get right to the lukewarm? Why don't you just get it out your system, Zach? Why don't you go straight to the problem with this episode and just rant about it now, and then it'll be all uphill from here. Or downhill. Which one is the positive? Downhill.
No, we want to go up, right? We want to go up.
Wait, up is the harder pedal.
Yeah, but you get stronger for going uphill.
I'm a fat piece of shit, but go ahead.
Me too. I'm not trying to take a 12-weeker. Conor versus Dustin. I could not give 2 shits less about this fight. And now I'm going to have to give a shit because it's going to be for the fucking 155-pound belt. That's where we are, right? If this fight was supposed to be originally at 70 for charity and is now getting moved to 55, they are putting the title on the line for this fight, 100%.
So I disagree there. I think I really...
Would you be willing to take a $5 wager?
I'll take a $5 wager on that. I think, but let me just say I can't disagree because anything's possible when it comes to the promotion team, Sean Shelby, Dana White. They could very well make this the belt. I think it would be a crime if Gaethje's not in that fight.
I agree.
Right?
I agree. That's why it should
historically, be... Go ahead. I'm sorry.
We're going to say the same thing. It should be Poirier versus Gaethje.
100%.
The title fight should be Poirier versus Gaethje, Chandler versus Ferguson, and then the 2 winners fight each other, and that unifies the belt in my eyes.
Yep. And if you want to throw Conor in the mix, then give him...
He could fight fucking... I don't even care. He could fight himself for all I care.
Actually, you know what? You know who I'm surprised they haven't given Conor is Ally Aquinta, because that actually sells pretty well. Yeah, no, the numbers on that one are great because a little bit of unknown truth about Ally. He's one of the greatest real estate agents to ever live in the state of New York, right?
I agree.
Repping hard in Long Island. But I think that would be the perfect fight because Ally... Could you imagine having to hear Ally and Conor going back and forth? Because you know Ally's not going to do any trash talking. He might actually legit attack Conor. sell him the house or attack him right then and there. He's like start screaming Strong Island. But if we're talking about 155, even if you have to keep Conor in a mix,
have him fight Dan Hooker.
Ooh, that's a bad fight for Hooker.
Yeah,
that's
I mean, he's not going to be ever going to be a belt contender anyway. Charles Oliveira.
Yep. That's a bad fight for Conor. Actually, Charles Oliveira 4.0, because this is the 4th edition of him, is a bad fight for anyone right now.
I agree. Is he the guy that we in a battle? It was a Star Wars. Is this the same guy that we're thinking about where we played some Star Wars game? And we're like, what the fuck happened to this guy? Like, when did he came out of the woodwork?
Yeah, we started talking about it, but we also called the fight. I was like, if they're gonna make a fight at this division right now with you guys resurging, it's gonna be Oliveira and Kevin Lee. And sure enough, they made the fight.
Oh, yeah.
Dude, anyone that gets that fight with Oliveira right now at this point in his career, short of Khabib, they're in a bad space, very bad space. The only reason I'm talking about this one though is because if they do make this a belt, right? 155. Obviously, the UFC is doing a little bit better, rumors say, than we've all been led to believe.
Sure.
Apparently, the numbers are actually doing way better than we've been led to believe. Parent companies not doing that great, as we've stated.
Is failing. The Fertitta brothers are going to come in and buy it. They're going to do what Hex did with Optic. They're going to do what Hex did with Optic. This is what I think, right? Because if I want to lump both UFC fight topics into one here, and I apologize for the timestamps. If Dana thinks Khabib is going to fight again, then it won't be for the belt, and that's the only way that I see that Conor versus Poirier will not be for the belt. But I just don't think Khabib fights again. I think Dustin and Conor will be at 55. It will be for the belt, and then Gaethje gets the winner. Now, I think it's a little bit unfortunate for Gaethje. I think Gaethje likes to fight, and I think Gaethje fights better when he fights in long strings, right? And that's what we've seen recently. He's been very active. But fuck, man.
So if they rob him of this, so obviously if they make this the belt, it's going to be Conor versus Dustin.
Bullshit.
It then switches to Gaethje versus Chandler. If it falls out, if it falls into the scenario, which is the very intriguing match.
And Tony gets fucked.
Yeah, no, Tony gets Conor. That's the way it should be, dude.
No,
you should give Tony. Wait, just hear me out, bro.
Yeah.
You should give Tony a fight that he's gonna get some pay-per-view points on, because he's earned it.
Yeah, make some money.
12 fights, undefeated, fought everyone they put in front of him.
Sure.
I mean, it's not like they dicked him over, man. He had injuries. There were other things happening.
Weight cuts, injuries, mental health issues. Mental health issues. He went through the whole. He went through the whole nine.
Parrot at the zoo. I don't know what was going on there.
We've all been there, though. We've all been there. I did 3 last week.
Give him Conor. And here's the thing: if you want people to start considering Conor a real contender at 155, if you want us to believe that this is the Conor that climbed the 145 division, short of beating a German man that was a can to death in his bid for the title, that's the fight he got before Aldo. Before Chad Mendez. Poor bastard.
Yeah.
If you want people to think this is a serious bid for Conor to be in title contention, you have to sub out one of those guys. So if it goes in the order that you're saying, then Conor needs to be fighting Chandler. Bottom line, that's
a bad fight for Conor.
It's a very bad fight for Conor.
That's a bad fight for almost everybody there. I think Chandler comes in and throws a wrench in this. Now, I don't know if Chandler becomes a champion. It depends on who is the champion at the time when Chandler finally gets the shot, right? This is what I think. Chandler Ferguson and Gaethje versus Poirier. And that's the only 2 fights I care about. Charles Oliveira can fight Conor for all I care. Conor could drop down. Listen, this is what you do with Conor. Have TJ Dillashaw come back at 55 on all of the steroids and then fight Conor. And then fight Conor.
Have you ever seen Ninja Turtles 2, Secret of the Ooze? That's how TJ Dillashaw would have to show up. He would have to show up like Uber Shredder with the ooze coming out of him, dude. And by the way, he's making his way back. But you know what? Screw that. We're not going to spend too much time on fighting tonight because the UFC's gotten enough from us. I want to talk about some shit that's going to really get my balls tingling here for a second. I want to talk about the game that's never, ever coming out.
I thought we were going to leave that one for last, but all right.
No, we got to get into the depressing stuff first, man. We're keeping it upbeat tonight, man, because you always have a really good spin on this stuff, and it's it is interesting though, because the hype is still very much real for Cyberpunk, right? Cyberpunk,
very much so. So Cyberpunk is in my opinion, one of the most anticipated games I've ever seen. The hype and the circumstance and the pomp and circumstance around Cyberpunk is one of the craziest things I've ever seen. You would have to go back and look at the potential release of Half-Life 3, in my opinion, for anyone in any mass group of people to have this same idea and objective and thought of what this game is going to be, right? Cyberpunk got delayed again. It pushed back to December. They put out a date and they were like, this is the date. We're not pushing it back anymore. It's gone gold, right? I think right. They even said that, right? So going gold in a game is when it like you have the final version ready and now you're ready to start working on a little bit of polish right before it goes out.
Right.
The game is going to be bad. The game is going to be very bad. There has never been a game that has been delayed this many times that has been worth playing on day one. And this is what Cyberpunk is going to be. Cyberpunk at this point is living up to its name, right? We're going to be 2077 before this game fucking comes out. And I've lost so much interest. After the last delay, I'm on record saying I'm not buying it day one, right? Maybe week 1, maybe week 2. I'm not buying this game until 6 months or 8 months after it comes out, when everyone realizes the game is not as good as The Witcher 3. The game is 50% shorter than The Witcher 3. The game has less depth and less things to do in the game than a game that came out what 3, 4, 5 years ago at this point. Like, yeah. I'd be willing to bet that The Witcher 3 Blood and Wine is what their DLC is. It will be longer than what the base Cyberpunk game that we're going to get. Apparently, they've cut out 20 plus hours worth of content out of the game.
Why? What was the thinking?
I have no idea. So things get left on the cutting room floor, right? Like that happens.
Yeah, that happened
5 years ago. Thank you, Shane. This game is not going to be good. I know it deep down that this game is going to be a flop, man. There is hype around it. There really is just there's hype around it, right? Like our last episode on Cyberpunk is one of the bigger episodes we've ever done, right? Where it was just labeled Cyberpunk 2077. I just don't think the game is going to be very good. I can't get behind it anymore.
Well, let me pose a question to you, right? Because even though the game doesn't exist, you know, the whole lore behind it.
The game exists, right? The game in itself is done. The game exists.
Well, allegedly, right?
Allegedly, that's a fair point. They could just be. You got to remember, this game was announced 8 years ago.
Yeah. This game has a better chance. We should do a clock. What comes first? Your copy, not your copy, your 3080, your PlayStation 5, or Cyberpunk, right? Which will be in your hands more than likely. I think there are people who are still genuinely excited. In fact, I was speaking to one of them last night. Shout out to Roxanne M. She's super pumped up for this game, or was at the very least, but they're going to start losing fans and start hemorrhaging them really quickly, because even though they released that PSA and it was beautifully written, it felt like it had a lot of depth. They definitely put some spirit into that, but no one cares to hear your excuses, right? It's starting to get to a place with video games where I think consumers are starting to get extremely frustrated with, not only do you release a broken game, Avengers, and then not only is the patch broken, Avengers, and every other game that's ever existed.
No, listen, don't put Avengers into this, right? I don't think it's fair. Avengers came, it was announced and made within 18 months probably, and no more than that. This game has had 8 years of a hype train behind it, right? The Avengers was like, hey, listen, I'm not the hype train. We're gonna capitalize on the Avengers being big right now. We're gonna make a game, we're gonna rush it out, and then we're gonna fix it with patches later. And that's exactly the strategy that they took. Realistically, what you bought was an early access title, in my opinion, which is fine, right? That we get early access titles all the time. This game has been literally 8 years since the inception announcement, right? Which is, you gotta remember, 3 years before Witcher 3 came out.
Right.
Which is widely regarded as one of the best RPGs ever made. And
it's
now,
a great game. Best game I've never finished. Thanks, Shane, for the put on.
Same. And now here we are.
But wait, hold on for a second. You have to be realistic about something. Not you. I'm talking about us in general. There are a lot of other things going on with Cyberpunk. You got a Netflix animated series that's going to come out. There are things that are going to keep people
handled by a different team, though.
Handled by a different team, but you know how people's minds work. If the show does good, then people are they're gonna be interested in the game. I just want to see what it's gonna be like to actually get into it, because the visuals are the one thing that keep pulling people back in. And I know what you're gonna say. We've seen this same trailer over
4 times, right? So here's the issue. You get these trailers, like the Cyberpunk trailer. We'll see this with the Division, right? I've actually broke down the Division 1 trailer versus what we got to you, right? There will be some of that. It'll be, they render these and they CGI and they do all this stuff to make it look more appealing and then dumb it down a little bit for the game, which is fine, right?
Right.
The game itself, I would be willing to say, will be a very good looking game. Above average, right. Not the best, right? It'll be beautiful. It'll be above average. The gameplay mechanics will probably be fine. It's just not going to be good, right? Because everyone's going to go into this game. It's CD Projekt Red. Like, we love CD Projekt Red. They made the Witcher series. It's fantastic. We're going to compare this game to The Witcher, and I think that is the reason why. Because this game could be an 8. Right, this game could be an 8 out of 10, but the fact that The Witcher is a 9.5 out of 10 or a 10 in a lot of people's eyes, that is the reason it's going to be a flop.
Yeah, you're comparing X's to currents. I know, I get you. Can I take a little detour for a second, because it was something that I think we should acknowledge, because it might very well make it onto another episode, but just really quick about another game. So it's all but been confirmed that the Miles Morales game is going to be short, right?
Yeah.
But anyone that got to play the reviews that got to replay the early version, you know what they all said? It was short. The bit that they played, it's actually not the whole game, but they loved it. I'm talking about people who have not given a game a positive review on their channel in years, professional haters. And that's something we can cover for another time, but that threw me for a loop. And I meant to call you on that, because when I saw it start tinging in my YouTube, and I'm like, man, people are really
I saw it, right? And I saw the animations, and they released the new suit for Miles Morales. Listen, that's all great, right?
Yeah.
But I cannot. It's $40, right? Is that
$40?
I can't even recommend people buying a 15-hour experience on $40, man. That's my issue, right? Because the average player isn't going to play it 100 times, or how many times have you guys played through Spider-Man? 5, 6, 7, 8 times, right? Like,
we're on a hard 10.
Right, there you go. The average player is not going to be a 10-time playthrough, right? They're not going to be a 10-time playthrough. They're going to be a 1-time playthrough. Or they're going to be like, oh, man, I played it once 8 months ago. Let's play it again, right? They're going to be a 2-time playthrough, right?
But you know what?
$40 for 15 hours? Like, dude, I can entertain you for 15 hours for $40.
Listen, man,
we've entertained people for hundreds of hours for free, right? Like, just give us your $40 and then we'll continue to make content.
But you know what? Here's the alley-oop for it, the whole situation, right? Because we are actually going to get a Spider-Man, an official Spider-Man 2. And then this, man, I'm going to fall for the okie doke. I'm going to buy this game. I'm getting it on PS4. And unfortunately, fortunately, I am blessed to be calling on the 11th at 12 a.m. to pre-order a PS5 at the behest of my mother-in-law for my son. So I'll be doing that night. But we're going to get the alley-oop right into Spider-Man 2, man. I'll tell you one thing. I'm weak when it comes to this advertising, man. Same thing with Cyberpunk. I saw that scene with him chasing Rhino, and I completely disregarded everything negative we said about the game, and I need to get into it. I'm probably going to have the same experience with Cyberpunk, and that game's not even geared towards a guy like me, right? I see the same scene with the same... I'm like, it's not for me. You and I both know I don't have the type of time to commit to a game like Cyberpunk.
It's an RPG. No, it's an RPG, just like Shadow of War, just like God of War. It's going to be a linear story. That's it. It's going to be like
everything I've read about the universe of Cyberpunk says that it's a game that you have to really sit down and digest the entire story. I don't have that type of time, bro. Like, the only reason I had that type of time with a Shadow of War was because I came down here at 2:00 in the morning. I can't do that, do the show, play other games. I'm getting into World of Warcraft, about to become a professional WoW player. I don't have time for this shit anymore, man. I barely have time for you anymore after I started playing WoW.
You've literally never played a second time. You've sketched on me twice now that we've agreed to play.
And sketched on you twice. I owe you money and I just avoided you. Is that no, man? I got poopy diapers that need to be changed, dude. You don't want that action. Unless do you want to be a male au pair? Are you into that type of stuff?
No. Yeah, you have sketched me twice. We agreed on 2 separate occasions. You were like, "Hey, I want to play. Let's break."
I do want to play.
And,
I
hey,
do.
I'm coming this day. We're gonna play.
Listen,
and I'm like, all right, man. I'm like, cool.
I'm gonna apologize.
No, I don't want you to apologize. I just want you to acknowledge it.
On air, I am apologizing and acknowledging it, man. There are days when I'm like, man, I'm going downstairs, but that walk after everything seems like the longest walk ever. And then I know if I don't come with my A game, I'm just gonna get made fun of, verbally abused, attacked, even because I'm not hitting the shift button. So I gotta make sure I come correct, man.
I was very kind. I was just.
Oh no, you're.
I just wanted you to. I just wanted you to turn. I just wanted you to turn a little bit quicker. I was trying to help you have the best experience. That's it. I was trying to help you.
Joe Jackson and Ike Turner said the exact same thing. They were like, "I'm just trying to make you the best. I'm just trying to make you the best."
No, I just wanted you to have the best experience. Listen, we're gonna talk about WoW later, and I'm gonna go way too fucking in depth with it.
Why are we gonna talk about WoW later?
Because Shadowlands is coming out.
Okay, guys.
Holy Cyberpunk will be the biggest flop of any game that has been hyped this much ever.
Bigger than Days Gone.
Days Gone wasn't hyped this much.
Days Gone was very hyped. You just
hold on, but no. Days Gone was a 6. This is a 10. Right. I don't think you quite understand how much people. I don't think how many and how much people are looking forward to this game. Days Gone was like Days Gone is coming out. Cyberpunk is like, I'm fucking taking time off of work to play this game, and if I have to call in sick 3 days in a row after my time off, I fucking will to finish this game. That's where we are.
Bigger flop than Cold War, like bigger hype train than Cold War. Are you saying like?
Man, that's hard, right? Call of Duty, Call of Duty. Yeah, no, you're right. Call of Duty's in a different league, though, right? Call of Duty is an yes.
Thank you, buddy.
Thank you. I will say
that was
so.
You know what? That was a non-political answer, and that's what people have come to expect.
No, I do think it'll be a bigger flop than COD. I think COD will be more successful in 1 year's time than Cyberpunk will be, which is an easy guess because it makes $1 billion every year.
Speaking of flops, man, let me choose my words kindly. Did you know that the Mortal Kombat PlayStation 4 tournament was today?
No.
So only 74 other people.
Yeah, I was about to say, was it you and 13 other people?
I tuned in for a little while, and as usual, talent level extremely high. Was not fun to watch. I just wanted to throw that out there for anyone that was wondering if we were going to cover that scoop. I did go. I chimed in the comment section. I was the only person that spoke English. Everyone was speaking German and Russian because that's where the best players come from. And that's legit. I didn't even know that. I didn't know that there was such a huge Mortal Kombat scene in Russia and Germany. But it sucked. And the last thing I'm going to say about Cyberpunk is this, right? I'm buying it. I'm going to buy it just because I don't want to miss out on it, but I'm not going to have the time, so it's going to be a waste of my money. You know how I get down. I buy things.
Spend the $60 on World of Warcraft time and join the online experience.
It was fun, man. It was fun. When we killed that one dragon-looking thing in the dungeon, I've never been happier to kill something than that thing right there. And it felt bad.
Don't worry. We'll go through Legion. Legion is one. I don't even know. I'm not going to count what number expansion. Listen. We're going to go through a Legion dungeon, and we're going to wipe 6 times before we get to the final boss. A wipe is when the entire dungeon dies, and you have to respawn and run back to the point where you were at. We're going to wipe 6 times on a Legion dungeon. We're going to get to a boss. I'm going to prepare you for the final fight, and we're going to kill it. It's going to be way more satisfying.
See, that's why, hypothetically, if I was ever to take a fight, you and King Cash in my corner. Hopefully, you guys would throw the towel in like, Steve, it's not looking good.
Listen,
I'm just sitting there like,
if it's going as poorly as I imagine it going, I would throw in the towel for you. But Zach, if we get you on 3 days and we get that workout that I've been sending you, and you haven't replied to my emails in a week, if we get that workout that I've been sending you, you're going to have to invest in a Peloton. Actually, 3 Pelotons because you're going to break the first one. You're going to use it so much.
I'm so fat. No one.
We're going to get you. Yeah, they do. What are you talking about? Peloton is great.
No one can afford it. Now, show me one.
Peloton 3. Actually, I have a friend who just bought one. 3-year financing, $50 a month, 0 APR.
With good credit, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. They're gonna
they'll sell me. I could get that, I think.
One last thing about Cyberpunk. Right. Last thing I want to say. If you're in the chat right now, you follow the channel, we would be very interested in your experience. If you're actually still going to buy the game, don't shy away. If it sucks, when we do the actual review of the game, I expect that same energy. Come back in here. Let us know how it was. Let us know in the Discord.
Yeah.
Join, because here's the thing, right? I had been warned that Days Gone was going to suck. And I let pride not say that it sucked outside of this context. Multiple people asked me, should I buy it, Steve? And I'm like, you should buy it. I bought it. You should buy it too. And this is after I played the game for about 8 hours. I was like, get it. Get the game. And I sold it to other people just to make sure they experienced what I experienced, dude.
Here,
so come back with that energy.
If you guys are in the live stream right now, shout out the audio listeners, by the way. We love you. We love you, audio listeners. Live stream's popping off right now. If you guys are in the live stream, hit the Discord link in the description. Join the Discord.
Join the Discord.
Do it now. Like
right now.
That's it. Just join. Come hang out with us. If you want to raid with us in WoW, I'm gonna get Steve up to raid ready. As per my goals in life, it's only about making Steve a better video game player. So we're gonna get Steve raid ready, and you guys can come raid with us.
Well, remember, the original transaction was at some point, and this is actually a true statement. This was not something I'm coming up with right now. We were going to do this video game experiment with shooters and or other games, and eventually you're supposed to make your way into an MMA gym, and we're not obviously.
I thought I was supposed to play a fighting game. I didn't think you meant real life.
No. White belt classes on Saturday. The conversation's coming back to you. I was like, we do.
Oh my god! but then okay, hold on. Here's the issue, right?
Rory, you're in here too, baby.
I would agree. I would agree to do that if it wasn't at 10 a.m.
What's wrong with a 10 a.m. class,
dude?
Man?
It's just too early. It's just too early.
It's one day. That's when the body is its most alert.
No,
you will
it's
never
not.
be more willing
I go to bed at
stop
6 in the morning. I go to bed at 6 in the morning, and then I'd have to get up at fucking 8:30 to fight for the bathroom here because it's a shit show in the mornings, and then I'd have to drive an hour away to go to the class. This is what I don't want to do, man.
So I know, while we're on video games, I know these are side comments, but just for your own shits and giggles, have you checked the price on the UFC game recently?
No, is it cheap?
Yeah, it's cheap.
Should we get it and play each other?
I don't know if I want to buy that game, dude. It's from everything I've heard, it wouldn't be worth it to me until it's like $15.
How much is it right now?
I heard it was 30.
What if I give you the $15, so it's $15 hypothetically for you, and then we can make some content out of it?
I would rather I give you the $15 if it's a bad game. Like, have you seen some of the other game had really bad reels on YouTube on the glitches?
Dude, every game does though. Every game does. It's made by EA. You know, it's to be expected. It would be fun. Do you have the third one? Do you have UFC 3?
Yeah.
We should just fuck UFC 4 then. We should just play.
I have it on PS4 though. I don't have a capture card, so
I have it on PS4.
You haven't, yeah, but how are we going to stream the content? That's what you want to do. You want to see... I
have a capture card.
No. Oh, okay. Yeah, we can do it that way, I guess.
You're going to want to go from the view that's going to win anyway.
I see. I knew that was the setup. I'm as usual when it comes to fighting games. I remain humble.
No,
you are definitely.
I've played a bunch.
This game, because you played so many hours, you're going to probably wipe me for the first, I'm calling it, 60 matches.
60?
After 60. I give myself 60 losses.
I give you 3 before you kick my ass. Because like on match 3, I'm gonna be like, yo, let's fight DJ versus John.
Dude, did you build a custom character? You did. You built like 4 different characters and took them through their careers, right?
Correct. And then I built the hypothetical Paige Van Zandt that would actually be good at fighting.
Rumor mill, Paige Van Zandt, she actually will be announcing her first fight or whatever soon. That's
bare knuckle boxing. Yeah.
Very soon.
I feel so fucking. I'm gonna put money on that fight. It's the only fight I'm ever gonna put money on.
What the pay? I'm not tuning into that, man. Because
I'm not either. I'm just gonna put money on whoever she has to fight, and then just know that I won money there.
It won't be too long till Angela Overkill Hill's there. I said it out
she
loud.
has better striking.
She does. I think she would be a champ in that.
Right, that's what I'm saying, right? Like the issue with Paige Van Zandt going there wasn't the fact that she it wasn't the fact that she left the UFC. It's just she went into a purely a boxing, right?
And that's the one.
Yeah. I could have seen her going to Bellator. I could have seen her going to One. I could have seen her doing a lot of other things that involved MMA because her ground game's not terrible, right?
No.
I think she has the most.
Her control is amazing.
I think she has the most arm bars in women's UFC history or something.
No, is that true?
Fact check me on that one because I'm like 80% sure on that. But like,
did you hear the bullshit rumor running around Reddit about your girl Rousey? When I say your girl, it's not actually your girl. It's just sarcasm.
I know what you mean. I do.
Apparently, if the internet is to be trusted, she may have made some vague comment about talking about how she missed it. I can't track down the original source.
I think a lot of people who are used to being in competition, who are out of competition, miss it. Right? You see a lot of pro esports guys like fall into another esport a few years after retirement. Yeah,
I think she pulls a million pay-per-views easy on her return.
I agree, if she fights, right? I heard rumors of her doing a jiu-jitsu tournament or something.
Yeah, I heard that too.
But I think it's just the competitive nature, right? I think that's what they're missing out on. I think like when you're a lifelong competitor, right? I played baseball for my entire life, and I play video games now in a competitive fashion, right? Because I like the competition. I don't, I don't want to go back and play baseball anymore because I'm too fat and can't run and my fucking knees hurt. But like, if I could
think about all the good foods you eat now, man, compared to back then. It's okay to be fat.
I was a child. My parents hated me. They didn't feed me anything good. They're like, here's this Red Baron frozen pizza. I'm like, we live in New York. Just go to the fucking pizza place. Red Baron. A fun fact.
That's pretty good.
Red Baron's good. Every once in a while, I pull a my dad move, is what I call it, right? I'm like, I'm copying my dad one for one here. My dad has some money, right? He doesn't have to worry about how much a frozen pizza costs. When he goes to Walmart, the only frozen pizza he buys are the Tombstone frozen pizzas, the ones that are like $2. And I like them. I do just because I grew up with them because my dad ate them all the time. He cooks them until they're burnt on the edges, and then eats them. And you know what? I found out that is the best way to eat those frozen pizzas.
Why? Is it because it gets rid of the aftertaste, or?
No, Jack's are the ones that have the aftertaste. Tombstone is like a Red Baron. Like, which Red Barons are okay, right? As far as the pizzas go, I would actually go Red Baron over most things. It's like 80% of that.
Before we lose any more people, I just one last thing, because I know Roy's probably like killing himself right now. We're talking about food, but California, Ralph's and Gristedes, also Whole Foods, best frozen pizzas in America. Well, there is no debate. I don't know what's going on there. I don't know if it's because they're earlier in the supply chain. No, but I'll had Red Bag.
You want to know why? Because the pizza in California is so bad that the frozen pizza is better. Right, because like you're from fucking New York, right? Like,
good point.
We have pizza here, and it's like it's New York, New Jersey, and New Haven, Connecticut. That is where pizza is, right? In my opinion, Long Island has good pizza too, but that's like right in that triangle.
Staten Island, if you're feeling froggy,
again, in the triangle, right? Like, like New York, Jersey, New Haven, Connecticut. But then you go out to California. We had pizza when we were out in California, and I'm like, what the fuck is this? It's bad. So bad. I literally would have rather like thrown up on the pizza, brought it back to the pizza place, and then drove to a Whole Foods and got a frozen pizza.
So, a little secret here, though. Let me tell you where they are beating us. Sushi, Superior. New York sushi.
Asian food is 100 times better.
Short of ghetto Chinese food.
Fair.
They also beating us with burritos, 100%. Tacos, soft shell tacos, Korean barbecue. Okay. All that stuff.
Asian food and Mexican food is where they, or Hispanic food is where
and
they.
And Hawaiian
it's right there. It's right there. What do you think? It's like, oh my god, dude. Oh.
All right.
Let's get off of food. Let's get off of food.
We're going crazy. So, what you pick it up next? Dealer's choice. What do you want to go?
Let's just stay in games. Let's get the WoW talk over. It's going to be at least if you guys are here and you guys don't like World of Warcraft, I would tune out for the next 2.5, maybe 3 hours.
There you go.
So the next expansion for World of Warcraft officially has its release date, November 23rd. I'm very excited. It's less than a month away. Dude, I don't even like. I saw that and I'm like, all right, going back to bed. And then I went back to sleep because it was like 8:30 in the morning when I saw the announcement. And then got up at 3-4 p.m. and was just very excited. Very excited. That was a joke. I get up at about 11:30. I get up at about 11:30 every day. Sometimes I hit the snooze button until about 12:30, but we're gonna talk about that later. Seasonal depression is killing me. So yeah, I'm excited, man. I'm very, very excited. We're going to the Shadowlands, right? There's a whole new area of the map. It's the first time I've ever been playing WoW when an expansion is coming out. I've been playing a bunch. I've been playing a lot. I've been farming mounts. It's been a good time.
So what's that experience going to be? I guess you can't call it now, but like, so you're dialing in right when the new area is coming in, and so nothing. You're not going to have any inside tricks or tips or anything like that for a guy like me. What is Shadowlands? Is there a lore behind it? Is there some information that you can throw out there?
Yeah, so it's the Lich King's domain. Lich King is the king of the dead. They go dead. They become Death Knights. Death Knights is a class in the game that you could play. It's actually really fun. It does a shitload of damage. So we're going there. The issue is that we killed the Lich King in Wrath of the Lich Kings, the second expansion, and then Bolvar is like some random dude took the crown, and then Sylvanas came and killed Bolvar, took the crown, and now we have to fight Sylvanas and the Jailer. So the Jailer is this mythical creature that is supposed to be more powerful than everyone else because they're the person who controls all of the jails, and then like also included in these jails is like old gods, and like he's like one of the end all be all people in at least that we know of in the World of Warcraft universe. So that's going to be our end goal on this. It's gonna be. I think it's gonna be sick.
Dude, I think Token would be amazed by the universe of World of Warcraft. Yeah. So I did. Of course, I went back and I've been watching Timeline Explained World of Warcraft.
Those videos are 4 hours long.
I know.
Like it's a lot. It's a lot because there's like there's the games, and then there's the Warcraft games that came before World of Warcraft, and then there's World of Warcraft, and then there's books and movies and like animated shorts and like all of this stuff that come in, and it's fucking crazy.
Dude, there's a lot of fan participation and a lot of stuff. Like I've had to be really careful to make sure I'm rooting out anything that isn't canon. Every once in a while, you pop up on a video and you're like, "Oh, what is this?" And it's just literal fan theory. I saw a 2.5 hour synapse that someone had basically wow universes, and it took me an hour before I realized.
Wait a second, this isn't real.
What is happening right now?
There's so much lore to this game because it's been around for so long, right? And they've been building on it for so many years. I'm just excited, man. I'm excited. I can't wait for the Scourge event to happen.
What is that?
So apparently every pre-patch, it was the patch that comes out right before the new expansion. This like the capital cities are under siege. So you have to like fight your way through the capital city and protect it and do quests. And right now, what's going to happen is we're going to retreat to Icecrown Citadel, the Icecrown Citadel area, which is from Wrath of the Lich King, right? So we're going back to the second expansion. There's going to be a new quest line there. So I'm super, super excited for when that happens. I hope we get that next week or the week after. Yeah, we're getting some stuff. We're getting some crazy stuff coming up soon.
How's the buzz going for this whole thing, man? Like, I know you're excited, but it's kind of hard to tell.
A lot of people are happy that there's a date now, right? Because it got delayed, and then they delayed it without ever releasing a date for it. They're like, hey, we have to push it back. We're not sure when it's going to be. We have some issues in beta testing that we want to address. They feel like they've addressed them, and now they're ready to announce a date. So I think a lot of people are excited.
That's going to be pretty amazing, dude. First initial experience just from playing the tutorial portion of WoW, right? You get over it. If you're uninitiated, you're just coming new to this, you get over the view and the graphics fairly quickly, because the more I started to play, the more I realized I'm like, oh, okay, what is this person saying? What's happening right here? Oh, there's actually a point to this whole thing. Like, even though we're just reuniting orcs with their orc mothers and shit like that. By the time we by the time we did the whole, there was one part that was kind of silly. I gotta admit, when the guy had the little robot pick me up and he takes me over,
that happens. Those like little quests like that happen a lot in World of Warcraft.
But it was
it's
silly,
how they
but it
rope
wasn't
the
distracting.
goblins in. It's how they rope the goblins in. Because the goblins are supposed to be like these super crazy engineers and inventors and stuff. So that's how they rope a lot of them into the story. During Cataclysm, right? This is years ago. Deathwing comes down and kills and like swoops through the area, and Thousand Needles floods. Right, Thousand Needles is this area in Classic where everything you have to do is up on these fucking plateaus of mountains. Right, you have to take elevators up and down, and then you have to go up. You get quests, and you come down and kill all the little shit on the ground. So it was one of the hardest areas to quest in my opinion. They flooded the entire thing during Cataclysm, and here come the fucking goblins on like a boat, like just fucking roaming around. It's super funny. It's super sick. Now we have flying mounts, and none of that matters. So.
Are there dwarfs in the game?
Yes.
Like, so because typically, like the dwarfs are the engineers and the inventors and stuff like
on
that,
the
like
Alliance side,
the craftsmen and stuff like that. So it's the goblins, these little fellows.
So we were playing Horde.
Okay.
So they're that for the Horde, where the dwarves are on Alliance. Their entire city is Ironforge, right? It's a mechanical city built into a mountain. And it's connected to Stormwind, which is the Alliance capital, through a subway system. So it's the only place in the game that I know of that has a subway, and it just runs between Ironforge and Stormwind.
That's how you know developers, designers are having fun, even when they're stuck inside the story system. And they're like, you know what, we're going to throw a train in here. Like, how are we going to explain that? We don't have to explain it.
It's just in a mountain. We'll never see it. Yeah. Sorry, it's there, and then in Old Dewar, the raid, there's another one. But
I've always meant to ask you this: what is your favorite iteration of World of Warcraft, if you have one?
I don't really have one, right? I only started really playing heavily a year ago, less than a year ago, right? And I don't know. I've leveled through most of the zones now, but I never got to experience those when they were new, right? I got to play Classic when it came out. Classic is interesting. It's very hard. It's way harder than the WoW that we played. Like you turn the difficulty up to fucking 11, and then like Classic laughs at it. It's so much harder. I've leveled through Burning Crusade. Burning Crusade is interesting. I like the zones a lot. Leveled through Warlords of Draenor on a new hunter with Shane. I leveled through Legion because I played through Legion originally when it had come out. I like Legion a lot because that's where the dungeons start getting very hard. Where you can't just like if we're playing a dungeon like the one we did for like the tutorial, right?
Right.
I forget the name of it. Dire Maul Citadel or something like that. That is super easy. It's designed so you don't die. You get the feel of what a dungeon is, but you're not going to die in that dungeon. But like Legion dungeons are like, there's mechanics. Like the fights are like, okay, well you have to kill this guy and you have to pull him into this area and then kill this thing next to this guy so he gets a debuff so it's easier to kill. And there's like things you have to know for the fight. And that's where I start really, really liking the dungeons because they're not just like, okay, I'm just going to sit here 1, 1, 2, 1. It's like, all right, I'm actually actively participating in this. And it's a lot of fun in my opinion.
Yeah, I was taken back, man. I have to publicly apologize to anyone outside of this context that I've ever made fun of for playing WoW. And I used to go hard at people when I would see them playing. I'm like, so this is what it's like to be you in your life and your day to day. But after a few short minutes, it was enjoyable. I gotta be honest.
I have a good time.
I gotta be honest with you. I mean, not as good as Shadow of War, not as good as Shadow of Mordor, but still a great game. I'm looking forward to it. Hopefully I can sit down and play it again and not have to worry about like the things that would pull me away from the game, day-to-day responsibilities. I feel like WoW is one of those games where you just have to like divorce anything else that's distracting you from the game. Would I be correct in assuming that?
If you're saying that it's immersive, sure, I could see that. I'm not a guy who gets super immersed in games. I can get up and walk away at any point and then not be bothered to like jump in 5 minutes later or whatever. But yeah, I could see that for sure. It's a game that requires time. Leveling is way easier now. Like it took us an hour and a half to get to 10, where like in Classic, an hour and a half, you might be level 3 still. So
sidebar, Matt, I know that you're probably burnt out on it, but you know that I will be harassing the shit out of you and Shane the minute they say anything about Division 3. Like I literally Google it
I'll play
almost every day.
There's no reason I wouldn't play it. I've enjoyed both of my times in the Division 1 and the Division 2. I like Division a lot. I really do. And I think the Division 3 could be a fantastic game. Just like I thought 2 was fantastic and I thought 1 was fantastic. The issue with Division is it only releases with 40 hours worth of content.
I don't know if I daydreamed this or imagined it. Did you tell me that they picked a city for the third game?
No, I've never said that.
Okay.
I've made pitches as to why I think Detroit would be a good city. Chicago would be a fantastic city. I thought LA would be game 4 or 5. I thought maybe they should do like a St. Louis or a Minneapolis or like somewhere in Texas. I think all of those are good ideas. They have not picked a city as far as I know. Most likely they'll probably go back to New York, though. I would think
New Orleans would be a great area, like going through the French Quarter, breaking through most of that part.
Yeah, that would be super sick actually, and you could do really good. Like the French Quarter would be super sick to play through. I like that. I think French Quarter. I think New Orleans might be the best bet. Well,
also, Google's. I'm sorry, YouTube Premium just took their blood money as per usual. They're never late.
I've never paid for YouTube Premium.
What?
Why would I? I use ad block on my computer.
Oh, that's right. You don't consume any of that stuff on your phone, though, right?
Sometimes, but like, I make sure it's a channel that I'm not going to get an ad on.
It is
the one thing that hold on. To be fair, the one thing that does fucking annoy me about YouTube is like in between music videos. Like I like put my phone on, put music on while I'm like in the shower or something.
That's
right?
when they get you. That's when they
play like 9-minute ads in between music, and it's always the fucking mobile ads with that guy going, "Well, I didn't expect this game to come out of here," and whoa, and I'm like, bro, if you were in front of me right now, I would beat the fuck out of you. Like I'm so angry.
That's why I can never get behind Pandora, man. Like, you shouldn't be allowed to make a radio station, right, based off of a song you like, and then have to deal with the amount of ads. And it actually starts to trend higher.
I have a glitched Pandora station.
Yeah, what?
I have a glitched Pandora station.
What do you mean?
I have a station on my Pandora that I've never gotten an ad on. And I've never paid for Pandora Premium. But I've also never skipped a song.
I wasn't supposed to be paying for a YouTube Premium when I first bought my Pixelbook. I had the 3-year thing. I could have swore it was a lifetime thing, but that doesn't make any sense.
I thought it was
it was 3 years.
Oh, I got a year for my original.
With your Pixelbook?
My original, well, not my Pixelbook. I've never bought one of those.
I'm sorry.
Those
what
abominations of technology. My original Pixel, though, I got it.
You know, you're a judgmental racist, and I don't like the way you talk about the people who Pixelbooks.
If the shoe fits, wear
it. Sir. So, DMC, Shroud. We didn't get to cover any of this stuff while it was that hot. I
don't understand what DMC is.
Oh, I'm sorry. I probably typed that completely wrong, but this is in regards to the because I actually was using voice to text. This is in regard to the copyright issue. I guess Shroud and his only Shroud, his Shroud way, man. So he's just in his stream. He's just talking about it casually, and he's like, "We folded. Not only did we fold, we blinked." And he basically goes to a pretty I won't say it was comprehensive, but he goes to a breakdown of how he feels that Twitch streamers should have taken the opportunity to stand up for themselves and really look at the situation and go, hey, we shouldn't have to pay licenses on these type of things. We shouldn't be getting knocked for playing music, especially since more often than not, data is trackable. And I didn't think about this, man. People will tend to, let me use you for an example. Mm-hmm. You put on a trance list in one of your streams, right? Mm-hmm. I wound up putting my phone up for a good majority of that stream, finding the songs and then downloading them on Google Play. Now, it's only a penny per download for the artist, which is highway robbery, but that's still a penny that they got from me listening to music on a live stream. And it never occurred to me that this is something that people aren't thinking about. And maybe he's right. Maybe people blink too early at the thought. But what do you do in that scenario? If they're pulling your channel, if they're fucking striking you every time you play a song, not everyone's as well off as Shroud where they can like put up the legal battle.
This is like fucking this is like Bill Gates being like, man, you know how easy it is to pay off student loans? It's like, yeah, motherfucker, you have $250 billion. Like, no, here's the issue with DMCA, right? So the DMCA laws are the old outdated copyright laws for music. Shroud is wrong here. Shroud is very wrong. What the streamers should do is they should pressure Twitch into giving them a way to appeal the claim the same way YouTube does, right? And that's the issue. And I've had conversations with partnered streamers about this and big YouTubers and all the like, right? And they all say like, it's like, okay, but like if this happens and I get struck and I can't claim it like I can on YouTube, then my livelihood is gone. Right. Shroud is, let's say $15 million in the bank. You know, a lot of the guys who are partner streamers who are doing it full time are like paying their bills and like playing video games, right? They're not like paying their bills and playing video games and stacking millions of dollars in the bank like the top 18 guys are. So it's easy for him to say, but if Twitch stands up to the music industry, they're going to have to buy it. That's the only way around it, right? Because it notoriously, things get taken down because music doesn't like it.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing about that, right? So everything starts at the beginning. And I know that was very, very, very old world thinking there.
I gotta write that down.
So the problem with this whole situation is I'm going to take you on in the way back machine. This wouldn't have been an issue if we didn't have things like Napster, right? So we all got instant gratification in my generation where we were just getting tons of free music by illegally downloading it. And the response from guys like Lars and Slim Shady back then, people really got mad at them for wanting to protect the rights to their music. So now we find ourselves in this situation where anything can be dinged by the algorithm, even if the artist, and in some instances there are artists who are like, I don't care about this. The problem is, put that fucking thing down. The problem is, like Logic said, I don't own the rights to my music.
There you go.
Sometimes it's not even the artist coming after you.
It's not.
It's the penny pinch and record label. But I'm gonna give you guys a piece of advice. If you are a streamer and you're looking to put music on there, reach out to the indie performers. Those type of people will 100% allow you to play their music. You guys will come to some type of mutual agreement where they would be more than happy for you to play their music on your stream, dude. And a lot of the times, and Zach will attest to this, you're going to find a lot better music in the industry, especially if you're doing a lot of electro stuff, that you're going to find in any progressive or mainstream venue. But I agree that Shroud might be in a
unique position. Shroud doesn't play music on his stream, right? Like,
yeah, but
like let's be fair. He doesn't.
Unique position of a rich guy, right?
Yeah, so, but like even if he wasn't, he doesn't play music on his stream.
But that's the problem right there. That's the problem with altruism, right? Where it's just like, I'm defending my brothers and sisters, but it's like, yeah, you're defending us, but you're not really in this fight.
You're not in the same boat, dude. Like, it's like Jeff Bezos is like, wow, man, housing market's pretty bad, huh? I only bought number 37 this month, and I'm like, dude, like, no, Shroud is right. That, you know, the streamers should have stood up. The streamers should stand up for the Doc thing too, right? Not being able to play with Doc on Twitch. Take the bans, right? They're not going to ban Nick Merckx and Tim and fucking Cloaksy all at the same time. They're not going to do it. There's just too much revenue coming in there, right? But at the same time, like, you can't take that risk, you know? Like Tim has money, but he's a kid, right? Like he has a kid. He has to make sure that kid's future is taken care of now, and like, so he's not going to take the risk. Nick Merckx has like this enormous house and just got married and probably gonna have a kid, right? Like, again, this is the thing where you can't.
He's got to look after his interest, right? But here's the thing, man. Here's the thing. This is why you're supposed to have legal representation in all this, and even if you're I cannot stress this enough. Even if you would consider yourself a person who cannot afford that, you can actually go on places like LegalZoom. Don't take the first knock as they say.
Here's the issue, right? Is because what is actually the structure of where you are within Twitch? Are you a subcontractor? Are you an employee? What are you to Twitch, right? So the issue is that they're not coming after the channel individually. They're coming after Twitch. Right? Because Twitch is the person who is doing this, and then Twitch has to route that claim to you, the same way YouTube does it. Now, the difference is YouTube allows you to go against that and dispute the claim, or just disable it so you're not making any money, right? So like if we were to play music on this stream, not that we make money from it anyway, right? If we were to play music on this episode of the show and they hit us with a copyright claim, we go, okay, cool, you have all the proceeds. All 000 proceeds going forward. Not like we monetize. We don't even monetize, right?
Right.
So that's different. Where Twitch is just like, everything has to go. Now a few good things did come out of this. A lot of people, Soda Poppin made a server. Soda Poppin's a streamer. He's fairly large. I think he was a WoW streamer at one point. I don't know what he is anymore. He went and backed up like Wreckful, passed away earlier this year. He had 9 years of VODs left on his channel. That would have been essentially the only content left of him, because there's obviously not new content going forward. So he went and backed up all of Wreckful's VODs onto a server. There's been a few other streamers in that similar scenario where like these people are now archived, which wouldn't have happened prior to this. So like that's good. But it's on Twitch at this point. It's the shitty laws and the shitty copyright laws that music has put forward, and it has just stuck by for the last 50 years or essentially whatever it is. But it's Twitch at this point not allowing them to dispute the claims.
Yeah, no, but that's what I'm saying. Like when you have that thin veil of like the intimidation towards Twitch, and then that intimidation is in turn turned out to the streamers, you should still have legal representation. So here's the thing, bro. I'm going to give you the respect you deserve. Your general understanding of legal jargon and acumen is a bit higher than the average person. So you get something that comes in the mail and says, hey, you're being, not that it comes in the mail, but you get some type of warning. Your first instinct is like, hey, maybe I should have someone take a look over this because maybe I'm not actually guilty of what they're accusing me of. That's something that I think that a lot of streamers need to start looking into. Get yourself some small grade form of representation, because some of these, I'm just going to let you in a little secret, some of these songs that people are getting struck over, no one owns the rights to this music. It's like you're literally getting hit with a strike, or you're literally getting your content taken down. And if you do a little digging, no one owns the rights to the song. It's public domain. So why would I have to pay?
There's very few songs like actually like that. A lot of it's still owned by record labels.
There's more than you know, and it's crazy because this goes back to how artists get fucked over. But that's a show for another episode. I'll get riled up. I'll get angry, but
it's crazy, right? Like the issue, it's down to right. So like Herman Lee, the guitarist for Dragon Force, was banned on Twitch for playing Dragon Force music, right?
That's insane.
Right, exactly. Right. It's fucking insane. And it's just banned and never given the opportunity to have any representation or appeal the claim. Right. Now, on the other hand, Landmark, right, which is my favorite streamer at the moment, reached out
to Landmark
because he only listens to metal. So he reached out to a bunch of indie guys that he just listens to, and just came to an agreement. And the only agreement is like when someone says, hey, what song is this? You have to tell them what song it is and who it's by, right?
Exactly.
That's it. That's a super good agreement for a band that's selling 1,000 CDs a year versus I don't fucking know how many Drake sells. Like let's say 100 million, whatever it is, right? Probably zero, but no one buys CDs anymore. But
CDs are amazing. They're life, right? I have my CD collections in that door right there with my vinyl and 8-track, by the way.
Oh, and your Betamax?
And my server set up, my Minecraft server's back there as well.
I like Minecraft. It's a good game.
But no, I get what you're saying. Quick question for the uninitiated, which is me in this instance. How hard is it to update your Twitch page? Like if I'm viewing at it, could you update it every stream saying, hey, this is the music selection, this is the playlist, this is the artist? Is that something that's difficult to do before a stream?
So, well, I mean, I'm not going to put a whole track list down below, right? But you can, in theory, set up a command that has an API built into, or has an API or APK, I guess technically, that connects with Spotify, and you type !song, and then it just pops up what song is playing, right? You could do that and never have to worry about it. And I think that's the way to do it. Or the way that so I'm gonna date myself in Twitch terms here. When the Odd One was playing League of Legends as a professional player, 8 years ago, whatever it was, when he would stream, he would have Pandora open because it's pre-Spotify, and would just have like a little window capture over what the song was, and then that whatever song it was would just sit above his head, so you always knew what music he was playing.
That's perfect, man. But I honestly think, man, if I could give anyone, and I'm in no position to give anyone advice on this subject, but definitely reach out. Get representation, reach out to indie performers, man. And there's just an untapped resource there where you can pop off your stream with stuff with people who are looking to cross promote that way. And I think it'll be the next step for a lot of small streamers to build their channel.
Sure.
Get out of the machine. I mean, this is what sucks about the whole Twitch, Facebook, YouTube streaming situation, dude. When it's really just two powerhouses and one real powerhouse in that situation, they don't have to answer. The fact that they don't even have to really explain to you in the appeal why you've been banned, a permaban. It's like, well, you know what you did.
That's the issue with Twitch, right?
Yeah, like
Twitch is always pointing fingers and we're like, well, and it's like, well, I know.
I know you're sick of talking about it, man, but I'm starting to believe Doc more and more, man. He just has the behaviors of a man that's been done wrong. Look, X-Files on it. It can be in our conspiracy.
You gotta remember, this is a guy who plays a character on stream every day and has broken it a handful of times, right? So like, you can't tell me that you don't believe that he could act like he didn't know he doesn't know anything about it.
Oh no, I'm not that. I'm talking about. I don't think it's as heinous as it was represented in the beginning. I think that people jump to the conclusion because of the era we live in now, and the first thing that people thought was
previous issues that he's had.
Right, but it's one thing to cheat on your wife in a consensual relationship. It's another thing to accuse the man of possibly being a pederast or a predator. Not that he was accused of being a pederast, but those are the things that popped into people's head. But you know what? Doc's not paying me, and neither is Shroud, man. They still have not sent their checks over. As a matter of fact, as a point of fact, at this moment, I haven't received any money from Manscaped. Or that other place that promised to sponsor us. What was it? P-Hub, I believe they were called. They were a French company of some sort.
They were going to send us peanuts. They're a direct competitor to Planters.
Oh, where'd you get that peanut brittle that one time? Didn't someone, a fan or something, send that to you? Peanut butter brittle? Didn't someone send you sweets because they watch your stream or something?
It was fudge.
Fudge.
It was very good. I talked to him recently. His fudge business is doing very well. I think I have a part in that. I should own at least 2%. give me a chooser, boys.
That's the era we live in, man. Like, hey, I'm gonna send you some free pizza from my shop, and you mention it once, you're like, at 25% of your revenue makes sense to me. What are you saying?
Deal or no deal?
I'm not liking the $10 million valuation. Mr. Wonderful is my new favorite shark, but
he's the best one because he's the only one that's a legit venture capitalist. Right? He's the one that asks the questions that are actually real. And they always make fun of him for doing the royalty thing. But do you know how many fucking venture capitalists are just living off of royalties? Like, yeah. He's the only one that's legit.
I'm convinced Mark Cuban doesn't actually make deals on the show. Like,
I think he does, right? But Mark Cuban has so much money, he just fucking throws it away. I was watching an episode where he invested $200,000 into a thing. He's like, well, if it doesn't work out, at least my kids will like it. And I'm like, holy shit, you have that much. Like, I was looking at, like, have you ever looked at, like, how much are the sharks worth, right?
No, I've never gone through it.
All of them combined are like a third of Mark Cuban.
Really?
Mark Cuban's worth $4 billion. The highest, like, I don't think anyone else is worth above 500 or 600 million.
Yeah, actually, you know what? Now that you mention that, I do know that to be true because when the owner of formerly Virgin Records and Virgin Airlines came up,
he was the second richest person in the room. Richard Branson.
Yeah, they made reference to like the two billionaires arguing, quibbling over the evaluation.
At one point, Robert Herjavec was like, "Oh, is that how you can negotiate when you're a billionaire?" And Cuban was like, "Dude, I could buy you 5 times over and not even worry about the money that I lost."
I'm surprised since they've had athletes on there. That they haven't had Jordan on there because he actually has a high IQ for business. In fact, so high that I believe that Nike might have him killed one day. I don't know what deal he worked out with them, but he is getting them.
I was going to say something there that was a little outlandish. Yeah, they probably will.
You think they're going to have him shot? They're like, you know what, Michael? Yeah. We should have never gave you that deal at the beginning of the company. This is outrageous. Yeah. Let's move on to something.
Okay, I just pulled up the money real quick. I'm sorry. Yeah. Net worth estimated right through the Forbes list. Mark Cuban's worth $4.3 billion. If you added everyone else in, they're not worth $1 billion. 700. Oh wait, hold on. Sorry, they're worth $1 billion. There were 25 together. If they pooled their money, they're worth 25% of a Mark Cuban.
You know who else has a really good high IQ for stuff? Obviously, the guy who created Fubu, and that one woman is her name Lori. Damon John's
Lori, the QVC lady. Yeah, she has the best deal off of there for sure. Like the Scrub Daddy or whatever. Yeah,
absolutely. I can't believe they passed up Ring. That's
still the most hilarious thing I've ever seen in my entire life.
But they did settle on the guy who could not kick the door in, and I think he deserved that. That
is the single best episode of that show. It is so fucking funny. Of the poor guy trying to kick the door in for what? How long?
That was like 10 minutes.
Let's be fair. It was 2 minutes of on-air time, which is about an hour in TV, if you know anything about TV.
Dude, and the fact was he kept going.
Dude,
even after
kick. Oh. And I'm like, bro.
Did you bring your earplugs? Because I know you're gonna want to tune out for this last part, and I'm not gonna spoil it.
Do you think I have things to add to the conversation? Go ahead.
I thought you were like, I have things I need to do around the house.
Yeah, I have errands to run. What I meant to say.
But, season 2 of The Mandalorian is live on Disney Plus. I have not been shy in saying that Disney Plus, according to me, no metrics to back it up, needed new content to come to the platform post stat, and they released this first episode of The Mandalorian season 2. Dude, I got to tell you, if you haven't finished season 1, go back, finish that. This episode nails it and lands it perfectly. Okay. Why the show is so good. Without giving away any spoilers, it sticks to that same theme that basically this is a Western, right? Mm-hmm. And if it's not a Western, it's one of those old school silent Japanese films, and it's an Eastern. Okay. But it follows that formula perfectly. And I disagree with my buddy Mantis on one thing. It is an adventure story, but there is a great deal of story going on there. What they're managing to do is they're managing to differentiate themselves. And I called this when I was talking to Roy. He's not going to admit to it, but it's a good thing there's footage to back me up. That basically they're building a universe far, far, far away from the established universe. And that's good for a guy like you, Zach. Do you know why? Because you don't give a shit about Star Wars, right? But you might one day sit down and say, hey, everyone's talked about this. I don't know anything about this universe. And you would be able to come into The Mandalorian at the very least, without doing any research, be able to enjoy a show. And I think that's something that's great, man. When this dropped, within the first 5 minutes, I had called that everything we'd seen trailer-wise, where people were like, oh, man, they're giving away so much of the story. I'm like, it's first episode. That's probably literally the first 10 minutes of the show that they've split into like one long-ass trailer. Okay. Called it.
Okay.
Walked in cold. Didn't know what was going on. They took obscure shit that only real Star Wars nerds would know, made an entire episode about it, and it was masterful. And this is the guy that made Swingers. If you'd have told me when I was watching Swingers back in the day that this guy was as big, go ahead, look it up.
No, I'm not going to Google that one.
Don't put that in your fucking algorithm.
My search engine's already fucked, whatever.
If you'd have told me TV that Jon Favreau knew this much about Star Wars and that he was going to be able to come to the table and make something like this. I'm going to have to do a spoiler. We're going to have to do a spoiler talk at some point. But since they're only releasing it 1 week at a time, scenes were beautiful. Money is allocated properly to the CGI. Sets look great. They definitely have stepped their games up with the costume.
They have Gina Carano. I'm sold.
Yeah, all right. So we'll get to the Gina Carano thing in a second, but I got to make sure there's no, I don't want to get canceled, but there's something odd going on there, right? I don't understand it.
She's a good actor.
What? What did you say?
She's a fantastic actor. She was in Deadpool.
Right. She said exactly
6 words, and she jumped off of a building and looked cool. That's it. That's all she needed to do.
No, that's not the scene you remember, Zach. I know exactly what scene you remember.
No, that's the only scene I remember. Is her jumping off of the thing right before he kills the guy named Ajax and doing the fucking superhero land. It's literally all that I remember.
Oh, so you know what? I've downplayed your character again, because usually people first thing comes out of their mouth is the boob shot that's in that scene. Literally, that's what. Yeah. Well, see, don't drift off. Come back, buddy. Don't put it in your stream. She's obviously coming back, man. But here's another thing I want to talk about briefly about this episode, and I'm just trying my best not to spoil it. Baby Yoda needed to take a back seat, and I'm glad he did. And I'm hoping we get more of that, because until they're ready to do the big reveal on how they're going to deal with his story and how they're going to expand that, We don't need him forefront, man. It's important that he's there. It's obvious that the Mandalorian needs to fulfill his commitment that he made in season 1. But I just don't need a ton of Baby Yoda, man. It's cute, but cute only carries a show like this thus far. Have you ever had that situation before where it's like, yep, space western? Have you ever had that situation before where everyone tunes into a show and they're like, oh man, I'm watching for this character, and almost inevitably, when that character starts to fall apart, show falls apart. Just keep building out, man.
Yeah, The Office. The only thing that held The Office together was Michael Scott. The last two seasons without Michael Scott are some of the saddest seasons in television history. The Office is a very good show. I don't think it's the 10 out of 10 that people think it is. I think The Office is a solid 7. It would be a 9 if it ended with Michael Scott leaving.
Did you watch any of the original Brit stuff?
No, but I enjoy British humor, so I'd probably like it way better.
So it's interesting because the one Brit friend I had did not find our version of The Office funny in the least, and we actually got into a huge argument about it. I was like, no, man. I'm like, you gotta admit that was pretty funny, dude. You gotta, like, that whole season 1 is gold of The Office, and for me, that's
very good.
The best it's ever been. That's the best it's ever been.
Season 2 or 3 is also very good. The first 3 seasons of The Office are incredible television. The first season, when Michael Scott is at his most ridiculous, is very, very good.
It's amazing that show was able to get away with the humor. Like, just think about the basketball episode in the warehouse. You remember that? Like, you can't do that today. 100%.
There's some stuff in that, like, yeah, there's some humor in there that you couldn't do. Yeah, I don't know. I've never seen the British version with Ricky Gervais, but I would probably enjoy it. I like him. I like the IT Crowd a lot. I think that show is really, really funny, but it's British humor, so I think it's really, really good.
But see, my problem with that is I would need you to Google it for me right now. Office Space came out in what year?
Office Space is like 04 or something.
Because this is really the thing that, I mean, actually, it was a little the Office Space.
Office Space came out in 99. Sorry.
Yeah, see? So, and even before that, Office Space was actually a comic strip where they pulled that from one comic strip. And they made that entire movie.
Office Space is one of those classics where I'm fucking all on board with. It's really that fun.
I'm watching every time. These are the movies that I stay awake for as they go. 4 o'clock in the morning, I got to be to work at 5. Whatever. I'm watching at least an hour for it. Office Space. Hot Rod. What's the other one? I'm definitely watching.
Rod is pretty good. Shaun of the Dead.
I'm watching Shaun of the Dead. I'm watching Blades of Glory. I'm in, dude. I am also watching Bad Santa. Talladega Night. If any of those movies come on, I'm sitting down, I'm watching them. And if they're all on at the same time, I'm like, I don't know what to do. I'm gonna go through the whole thing. Come on, man. Hot Rod alone. Like, how many people have stumbled onto that movie and realized it's genius?
Funny. For me, Super Troopers is on that list.
Super Troopers. I still haven't seen part 2. It's good. Not, but I heard it was amazing. I heard it was absolutely amazing. Back to Mando, and then we can go into this is the last thing I'm going to say. I'm going to convince Zach to watch the first season. No, I don't know how I'm going to do it.
There's no way. You'd have to pay me or something.
What number are we talking here? What do you need? What am I paying you? Bubblegum? What?
$200 an episode.
$200? I'll give you $150.
Deal. No, it's
amazing.
It's just not. I don't like the universe it's set in.
It's amazing.
I like westerns, but it's not many. I'm not into it.
Here's what I want you to do, right? Here's what I want you to do. I want you to forget everything you've learned about Star Wars, right? Everything that makes you have that visceral reaction to it, and just watch the first season and just tell me if you can sit down and watch
How many hours is this? How many hours are you signing me up for?
First season was very, very short. I think the longest episode,
is it 10 hours? Is it 10 hours worth of content?
It's less than that. I think it was like 45 minutes an episode. The last 2 episodes of 8, I believe it was.
That's only 8. Okay. So am I looking at 8 hours worth of content?
Yeah, come on, man. Just work your way through it, power through it, and then that way we can get into season 2. We'll be on the same train ride together.
Yeah, but
you can see
that's if I get past the first 2 episodes, right? I'm bad with TV shows that I only half enjoy. The Boys is a very good example. The Boys is a good TV show, right? Don't get me wrong. I think The Boys is very good. I don't think I'm never gonna finish watching season 2. I watched 2 episodes of season 2. I don't know what it is, maybe even 3. Fuck if I know. I'll never watch another episode. I just can't be bothered. It's okay. It's good, but it's not my kind of good.
What is your kind of good? What is
I don't
your
know. It's weird. It's all over the place, right? I've watched every single episode of South Park, for example, right? Multiple times. South Park is my favorite TV show. I've watched like The Office. I've watched. There's not really much else. Like, I just don't care for TV shows. I watched the first 4 or 5 seasons of Silicon Valley. I've watched the first 2 seasons of Veep. I've watched all of The Sopranos. The Sopranos is incredible. I've watched half of Breaking Bad, right? Like, it's Breaking Bad's another thing where it's like I'm not gonna.
Why only half?
I don't know. I just, again, if I'm half into a show, I'm out. Letterkenny. I've watched every episode of Letterkenny multiple times, but like comedy stuff's a little bit different. I enjoy comedy way more than I do of like some serious shit. I don't know. It's not that I don't have the attention span. I watched all 3 of the Lord of the Rings movies. I almost did it one day.
Yeah, you sat through The Irishman, and that's a chore.
I love The Irishman. It was very good. Interstellar, very movies. I would watch all 3 Godfathers in one sitting. Very, very long.
Why would you watch Godfather 2 again?
Godfather 2 is incredible. Godfather 3 is garbage. You don't like Godfather 2?
No. I like Godfather 2.
I will cancel this entire fucking show if we go down a anti-Godfather 2 rant.
You listen to me. You and Francis and the rest of you stands. If you can't admit that 2 had its problems, that's your fault.
2 had problems. 2 had problems. But
I'm not saying it's bad.
But it's
2 is better than 3. 3 is unforgivable.
But like,
in fact,
Godfather 2 is better than 9 out of 10 movies that have been released.
Oh yeah, they're
every
better than
year since.
They're definitely better than Casino. Definitely better than Wise Guys.
Dude,
but you know what?
Dude, Godfather 2 is better than fucking the Black Knight or the fucking Batman series. Is it Dark Knight? Sorry,
Dark Knight. I was like Black Knight. That's like a movie from the 70s.
Yeah, sorry. I got that one mixed up. It's way better than those, which are very good movies.
Well, come on,
Godfather 2 is better than Casablanca. Like, Godfather 2 is better
than Casablanca.
It's a widely highly really.
But here's the thing: you'd be hard pressed to find a person who thinks it's better than Citizen Kane.
I was about to say it's better than Citizen Kane, but it's been a while. It's been a while since I've seen Citizen Kane, so I might have to go do back for a rewatch on that.
You're gonna have a bunch of.
But Godfather 1, in my opinion, might be the perfect movie. But Godfather 2 is very good. It's very good. Godfather 2 is literally an 8 out of 10, but juxtaposed to the first one, which is probably a perfect movie, a 10 out of 10. That's why you're saying Godfather 2 is iffy, right?
No, but the only problems it had, it wasn't because of the plot and it wasn't because of the script. It was just because of the stuff going on set, and that's noticeable in that era of film with the editing and the hype of stuff they had to pull to get it off.
And then the one guy wouldn't learn his fucking line, so he just has a paper in his hand and shit. Yeah, but dude, I don't know.
You know what's an underrated movie I think isn't celebrated enough, and I was talking about it with another really good friend of mine, Bronx Tale. This is a movie that I don't feel like
good, dude. The scene where the bikers get locked into that bar. This is Bronx Tale, right? And and he's like, listen, I don't want you to cause an issue here. And he's like, and then he fucking knocks the bikes over. Oh my god, very good. Bronx Tale is where the guy is like teaching the kid that he always has to open a door for a girl and stuff. Yeah, amazing. Yep. Bronx Tale is very good.
Just the dynamic for the love scene there. I'm telling you right now, that is what I assumed love was supposed to be when I was a kid. I was like, well, that's how you fall in love with a girl. Like, even a doofy son of a bitch like myself can get it. I'm trying to think. I'm trying to think of some other movies that are under-celebrated, but the problem is we got film majors trying to copy Francis and all this other stuff. Have you ever seen a movie?
I didn't realize The Godfather Part 3 came out 16 years later after the second one. I didn't realize it. So it's not even a third fuking movie. It's a reboot.
No, but that's the problem. One of its hugest knocks is not just the pacing of the movie, but they tried that, and they almost tried to make it an action film, right? And it's like there's one scene that's very problematic in that movie, and it's where the helicopter, if I remember correctly, I haven't seen this since I was a kid. They basically lock everyone in a room, and they shoot everyone up from a helicopter. And I was like, this isn't really a Godfather type of situation. It's more like it's supposed to be more clandestine than this, but more subterfuge. And that's where they lost me.
It's been a long
dude.
time since I've seen the third one.
That's why I'm happy they're not making a boon. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
That's why I'm happy they're not making a Boondock Saints 3. Right? This is what happens. 2 came out way later than part 1, and I still enjoyed 2. They're not going to be able to pull it off a third time. Right? So just
I know what this movie is. I've never seen Boondock Saints. Maybe it should be added to the list of shit that I need to watch.
It's the first one. I mean, I'm not going to pump it up.
I've never seen Heat or The Town either.
You never seen Heat?
No.
What?
No, I've never seen Heat.
Dude, Heat is quite possibly one of the. It's an amazing movie. Yeah. That was the last time Val Kilmer looked like a human being before he became a pumpkin.
You know how long it took me to watch fucking Casino?
That was
I like Casino. Casino's a good movie.
You know, it's also a great movie. But it's a little too close to home for me because it's like it happened in my neighborhood. Paid in Full. If you ever get a chance to watch that, I never thought that rappers could act, but Cameron came in and did his thing. Problem is, it's based off of a true story, and it's just, you know how true stories get you. You're like, oh man, this is great. Look at them getting money. Like, oh, it's about to get really bad. You realize that all these people that died in real life. So can't mess with that one. You know what's another movie I keep trying to get you to watch off the gangster stuff? Chat, check this movie out too. High Fidelity, John Cusack.
You keep telling me about those.
Quite possibly one of the best movies, man.
Is it on
High Fidelity's on that? Yeah, it's probably on
it is. Interesting. This looks like
it's one of those movies right up there with Fight Club and the other movies we listed that I will watch all the time, dude. Anytime it's on, I will watch it. I think it might be the last good thing Cusack was in, because I don't know how you would rate Hot Tub Time Machine.
Awful, terrible movie. has a really moving scene though, where the guy has finally decided that he's going to kill himself and he's listening to Motley Crue on his way back into his house. Very moving, very moving.
I love to see when they first realized they're in the 80s. That I forget the black dude's name, man. And he's just like holding his face.
Wait.
Same guy from The Office.
It is. I was about to say that, but I didn't want to sound super racist. It is, right? Same
guy. Oh wait, you know what's another movie I need?
Craig Robinson. He's very funny. He's done a lot of stuff that I've really enjoyed.
He was in the black version of Meet the Parents. This is the thing that happened. Look it up. Tyler Perry basically made the black version of Meet the Parents. But another great movie that's underrated. Do you like westerns at all? You're a western guy?
Yeah, I've seen a lot. My grandfather really enjoyed westerns, so I've watched a bunch of westerns with him.
310 to Yuma,
seen it,
and amazing,
very good.
Bombed at the box office, absolutely bombed.
310 to Yuma is very good. No Country for Old Men, but the original very, very good. Yeah, I don't know. The Sons of Katie Elder is my favorite western. If you really want to know.
It's a good one.
I think it's the last one that John Wayne was in before he died, if I remember correctly.
How did he die again? Was it cancer? Was it colon cancer?
Man, I'm looking him up right now. Probably.
I'm just gonna answer a question in the chat. So I got a question for the dad. My girl's currently telling me if I stay up for some more games, I'm getting the couch treatment. Any advice on dealing with non-gaming women in your life? Here's what you got to do, buddy. Right? You got to get ready for the champagne of victory. You take this L right now. You go. Don't play any video games, but you store it up for the night when you need to get the big game in. Right? It's all about inches and yards. So take an L if it's not a good game, but when it's time to play, just do what every other punk ass husband does. You beg her, can I go downstairs and play with Zach and Shane for a little bit? That's all you got to do, bud. That's all you got to do.
I forgot John Wayne was in a movie in the 90s before he passed.
What movie was he in?
La Classe Americaine.
John Wayne's a very controversial his and hers TVs. Trust me, that doesn't work either, because once you start setting up her TV, it's going to turn into a whole situation, dude. What you basically got to do is you got to be relegated to a man cave, and you got to make your man cave as uninviting to her as possible. So that's the way to win that argument there. You know what's another good western? What is the one with Clint Eastwood, Morgan Freeman, and what is this guy's name? Played Lex Luthor in the Superman movies. Great. Gene Hackman, I think is his name. Unforgiven or Unforgivable? No, Unforgivable.
The Unforgiven. I think
The Unforgiven. That was quite possibly.
Yeah, The Unforgiven, I think is what it is. Yeah, 1960.
That's a fun fact. A lot of the inspiration for Old Man Logan comes from that movie. Studio apartment makes for a great It does.
Yeah, very good. Man,
listen,
a lot of good things.
The best way to deal with it, man, if you're gonna play games and she's grilling you, I know that you've tried to get her to play games, but you just got to carve out that time and just let her know, like, hey, babe, this is what I do all day long. I gotta have this. I got to have this time. When I say you say it like that, like I said, punk ass husbands like myself, you got to be like, please, just please,
spare me 35 hours this week.
just please. I don't deserve any of this time. What else is going on, Zach? Any other shenanigans popping off?
You know me, always up to shenanigans.
Wait, hold on a second.
My fucking car fixed.
Dodgers and LA, and then on the Los Angeles Lakers, both champions in an augmented season. A lot of people throwing some shade at the Dodgers. I'm gonna let them have their moment, man, because so what if it was a shorter season, right? They still played their asses off.
They only played like 80 games though, which is 100 and change less games than what they normally play.
But yeah, you got to. I mean, you said they're still professional athletes. They showed up and they were competitive against other competitors.
So the best part about this season is everyone came in healthy.
Fresh.
Right. Everyone came in fresh. That's why LeBron played so well in the playoffs, right? LeBron usually plays this way throughout an entire season, and by the time he gets to the playoffs, he's beat up, right? Like
champions.
The baseball has been like hockey was amazing this year because everyone was there healthy. I'm just sad that the Rangers had to trade away Henrik Lundqvist, which is it's brutal. It's brutal. The best goaltender to never win a cup for sure.
Dude, what do you think they're going to do to get the numbers up?
They're not.
Like what they're not, right?
No,
it's just
not.
It is what it is.
I think either it'll come back next year. A lot of the issue is that like these games were on at like 2 p.m. on a Tuesday, right?
Right.
Like, listen, it sounds great, but no, everyone's still fucking working, you know? Yeah, I think it's an issue. I don't know. I think traditional sports are going to kind of like fade down for a little bit going forward. I don't know what the deal is. I don't know why or how you turn it around. Listen, I'm not a commissioner, you know, it's not my job to do it. The only thing is the more kids you can get to play these sports, the more that they'll be watched because you're going to make my lifetime fans, right? I watch baseball still, you know, not a ton. I didn't watch the World Series. I didn't care who was in it, but like, you know, I like to watch playoff runs. But I don't watch any other sports. I watch some hockey, some baseball, and all of fighting. That's it, right?
So that's a general consensus for a lot of people. They're like, you know, once my team is out, I'm usually done with the season as well, depending on the sport. I might tune in for the actual championship, but it's not because I don't give a shit if I don't watch. It's literally because the team I root for, the team I'm invested in, is not there. It's like watching someone else's kid graduate that I don't know. Like, this is, what am I doing here? What am I doing here right now? But with fighting, I can tune into any, and I've tuned into some shit cards, man. I've tuned into some shit, some bad boxing matches, man, and like I'll leave it on. I'll leave it on, dude. I'm calling it right now, man, and maybe we can get into this in the conspiracy episode, man. Someone tipped Dana off, man. I'm feeling very tinfoil about this. His response was almost like, "Oh no, world pandemic. We're gonna have to shut down for a little while, and then we have an island with an infrastructure, and then
that was just circumstance, I think, right? I think that was just a good move. He knew the guys over there.
They had a contract pre-existing to use it, and they didn't know when they were going to be able to use it, because there were a few other places.
Yeah, I'm sure, like fucking like Poland or some shit. It was like, everyone come over here. We could use the infrastructure, you know, or the tourism.
Greece is like, please, we're sinking. Please come here now. We need the money, dude.
No. We'd rather fucking go to the middle of the Congo or something.
Steven, the other Steve is in the chat. You're stupid for that one. The Rona champions. This is my buddy that I have.
Championship this year will have an asterisk other than football. Because football is going to play a full season. Because they're not playing full seasons.
Yeah, would you fight Tom Brady if you were a Boston fan?
Would I fight Tom Brady?
Like if you were a Pat fan.
Oh my god, dude! I hate Patriots fans. I honestly do. These are the most spoiled fans on the planet. You guys got six.
No.
Yes,
No.
they got 6 championships out of 1 quarterback. What are you talking about? No team has ever built a dynasty like that ever. You know, other than like Edmonton. No, other than Edmonton when Gretzky played there, right? Like that's.
Did you say no to the Bulls? Did you say that?
How many championships did the Bulls win?
6.
In how many years?
They first 3-peat, and then Jordan retired for a season and came back. They got the next 3-peat. So there was like
they did 6 of 7.
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't know that. Yeah, I didn't know that. I mean, like Tom Brady did like 6 of 9 or 10 or something. Which is
Tom Brady's the only man to wear a mom jacket and make it look cool. You know those nice
I wouldn't say it look cool, but he definitely did it.
Come on, he did it, and it's like, what are you gonna say? Brady can't wear a mom's jacket like that? And that was definitely like an Upper East Side mom's jacket. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
What is the stuff with the plan, the panels and stuff like that? Brady's the GOAT, man. I don't like him.
No, he is for sure. What is there not to like about him?
His face, his hair, his general.
Oh yeah, you're right. Actually, I don't like him either. No, he's the GOAT for sure, absolutely. You know, it's funny though. If I feel like if you put another quarterback of that caliber in that team, they win just as many championships. You put Aaron Rodgers in that team, they win just as many championships, in my opinion. The reason Rodgers didn't win as many championships is because, you know, he had Mike McCarthy as a coach for his entire career, essentially.
Yo, real quick, I wanted to ask you a question. Something I've been trying to figure out in my head. Who is the coach for the Huntsmen? Like, I missed it when they announced it, but like they have a coach, don't they?
They do. I don't know who the head coach is. I think they had like Big Timer as a coach for a while. I don't know who it is though.
The reason I asked that because with everything that's going on with Optic and 100 Thieves and stuff like that, that's something I want to get a little bit deeper into because I know we're going to be paying closer attention to it.
Sender's their head coach.
Do you know who that is?
Man, was he a Halo pro? I don't know.
There's some stuff I have general questions on regarding this because I know that Nadeshot gets a lot of shit for being an owner and having the presence he does online. Mm-hmm. I'm wondering, are there any coaches in the CDL that catch shit for being like that are popular streamers? No, nothing like that.
So TP is the biggest Call of Duty streamer, other than like say Nick Merckx or Tim the Tatman, who are just big streamers in general.
Right.
TP was the coach for what would have been Huntsman until Hex refused to let him sign the contract to be the coach.
Okay.
So that was it. There's actually, they tell the story on Hex's podcast at one point where Hex like had the contract lined up for him, had everything TP wanted in the contract essentially, and then Hex said, "Hey, listen, your stream is like blowing up. You're way better off doing that than being the coach for this team because like it's going to require a lot more time going into the CDL." So he's like, "I don't want you to. Here's the contract, but I don't want you to sign it."
Yeah,
that's pretty insane.
Here's another thing, since I'm doing the whole pick your brain thing right now, man.
Sure.
Have you made it through Kanye and Rogan yet?
Well, I won't even listen to it. I can't. Listen. I like Kanye's earlier music. The man's clearly having some mental health issues and literally needs help instead of being publicized as much as he is. I feel bad for him, right? Because he's so famous. He's so wealthy that like people can't get to him and be like, "Listen, man, like." Can we just like sit down, talk about this? Like, so what are you going through?
Inside voice.
Does he yell a lot? Is that a thing?
No. Inside voice. Inner monologue is the issue that Kanye is having. There are some things that your therapist will help you with. And it's like, hey, that was more of an inside thought for you to process on your own. They usually say it very nicely.
Oh, okay.
It's like, but
he does that thing where it's always a stream of consciousness, right? Yeah. I do that at times too, to be fair. But I'm clinically crazy, so at least I understand. It's long. I don't know how you read it. It's days and days worth of reading.
It was mostly scribbles and written in pretzels. Then I realized that you had compiled the file yourself. I need to watch that one. And I need to watch the friggin' Alex Jones one because I didn't think he was ever going to be on Rogan again.
Oh, I'm going to watch that one for sure. Those are the best episodes, dude.
Everyone said that is the most hilarious thing, but after the hour mark, it's just like the last time he was on. It's really rough to make it through all
what
the information. Right?
Those episodes are fun because you can't take them serious. Because I think as much as Doc is playing a character, Alex Jones is playing a character.
I hope so, man.
But sometimes you play a character long enough and you turn into it, right? And that's the issue.
Look at our president right now. I really do think that the Trump brand, and it is a brand, 100%.
Sure.
And
moniker, and yeah, I think it's taking it over. You want to wrap the show up?
Yeah, let's wrap it. We're
rambling a bit here. I know our people in the live stream are enjoying it, but it doesn't make for great audio content. I don't think. I think it should be a little more structured. But
what structure? I don't believe in that.
I don't either. To be fair, let's keep going.
Let's give a shout out to the audio listeners, man. They're smashing it right now, dude. Have you?
We love those guys. We love those guys. Best week last week we've had on Anchor. And it's that week over week, and we keep growing at the rate we're growing. We're looking good. I like our growth rate. Right, it's not super crazy, but it's very steady. We're growing 10% week over week or something. We do that for the next year, and we're sitting in a nice place, right? We'll have something, right? So that's great. Yeah, shout out the audio listeners. You guys are incredible. Mondays are iffy on whether or not we're going to do them live. Last week we didn't, but if we can get here on time and be ready, just in general, I'm not even saying against you because there's going to be times where I'm going to be late. Too.
I'm just thinking about the shit show on Monday. But go ahead.
Right. We're doing a conspiracy theory episode. It's gonna be fun. I'm gonna make fun of it the entire time. Let's be fair.
It's gonna be about 3 hours long. I'm gonna be
we're both gonna be exhausted after an hour and 45 minutes. So next week we're gonna be doing a crazy conspiracy episode. That's going to be a whole hell of a lot of fun. You guys are going to want to be here for that. We live stream these shows. The live stream audience already knows, and we've talked about it a bunch this episode. We live stream these shows. We're live about 9:45 Eastern time. Friday nights, 100%. Monday nights, it's a pretty good chance, like a 95% chance. There are some episodes I'm sure we're going to want to do offline. So we're doing that. We have any other content coming up? We were tossing around the idea of me breaking down Call of Duty maps to Steve, but I don't know if I actually want to do that. Me and Steve have a series of we're going to 1v1 at a bunch of random shit, which we talked about a year ago at this point that we still haven't followed through on. I think that's going to be fun.
I think for one last time before we really put it to bed, we should just do one old school gaming with a dad, but we could do it different. We could do it a little bit better this time. You know, we're grizzled veterans at this point.
Are we?
Make sure if you're in the chat now, or if you're listening to this in the audio playback, click the Discord, man. Communicate with us. Yep. Let us know what you want to hear. Let us know what you want us to cover. We will 100% cover you. Shout out to our inside scoopers that send us text messages and respond to the comments on things they want us to talk about. Need more of you guys in the chat. Greatly appreciate you. Where can they find us?
I think that's it. Ladies and gentlemen, find us at Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest. I throw the Pinterest in there all the time. I'm not actually sure if we have one or not.
We do.
Nice. I hope we're pinning and tristing a lot of things. Our website, podcasting applications, various different social media platforms other than the one already listed. Steve's starting a TikTok next week. You find us everywhere. Talking with a Dad, all one word. We're the only people that come up. The other guys that come up, they're fake. They're fake. We hate those guys. We've actually tried. We've sent them contracts to fight both of us. They have not responded. One of them is a 7-year-old, so I was going to take that one on. And that's it. That's it. Talking with a Dad, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for being here for episode 70. Have a good whatever time of day it is.